and a good afternoon to all of you. Steven here once again. It's a day late, or rather a day later than I like to, but I was busy with a friend, so here today are my thoughts and recap, briefly, of the Charlotte Roval race weekend, along with all the news, or at least the news I think that is most interesting to come since then. Now, don't forget, you know the routine by now, folks. Subscribe, like, comment, notification bell, the works. But with all that out of the way, let's get to it. Now, obviously, the biggest story of the race weekend is the controversies surrounding both drivers of the 48 car for two different reasons. First, you got the Parker Kligerman situation in the Xfinity race Saturday. Now, it appeared that if you watched the race broadcast on CW, Kligerman was showing a white flag, then the caution flag a few seconds later, seemed to indicate that the race was over and that he would get the race win. That's not necessarily true, as it turns out. NASCAR later shared a photo that confirmed that Kligerman was before the start-finish line when the caution came out for a car that was stuck in the into the tire turn of the Roval and couldn't get out. Therefore, a restart was necessary, and ultimately Sam Mayer came out with the win. And it led to some fans, or rather the vast majority of them, saying that Kligerman got robbed because they assumed that Kligerman saw the white flag and that was the end of the race. That's not true, guys. Look, I like Kligerman. And it's a real shame that he didn't get the win, but the rules are the rules. Everything's timed electronically. Might be a slight delay, as far as, when the caution was displayed officially compared to when Mr. the Tower entered the broadcast booth. But regardless, it's that moment when the caution comes out that determines whether or not we'll get overtime or not when we get to late in the race. Similar situation with the Daytona 500 earlier this year, where the difference was that later at the time, Byron was indeed ahead of the start-finish line when the caution came out. Now, personally, I do see where they're coming from and saying that Kligerman got robbed of the win, but I don't think he did based on because of that technicality right there with that photograph that NASCAR showed. But what NASCAR should have done, however, was to do one of three things. One, throw the caution immediately when the car got stuck on the track. Two, wait until after Kligerman crossed the start-finish line officially, then throw the yellow. Or three, if they didn't want to throw the caution out at all, they don't do it. But obviously the caution was the right call. Just the problem was that it was just bad timing, if you're a Kligerman fan, of course, when it was thrown. But regardless, like I said, Sam Mayer ultimately won the race, which is ironic considering that he was disqualified from what happened at Talladega the previous week and ended up getting the win. Getting the win this past Saturday. Speaking of disqualification, Alex Bowman, because his car was too light, was also disqualified following Sunday's Cup race at the Roval, which was won by his teammate Kyle Larson. And to be honest, I think the Xfinity race was more entertaining than the Cup race, since it was more competitive. But if you like a dominant performance by Larson, then Sunday's race was perfect for you. But anyway, despite that, Andrew Motorsports did have the option to file for appeal, but ultimately chose not to. And to be honest, based on the situation with the weights in the car, even if they did appeal, I don't think they would have won anyway, because when it comes to the weights, NASCAR is pretty much black and white on that. If it's too light, then it's too light, regardless of what happened. So ultimately, because of that, Joey Logano gets back into the playoffs, keeping this possibility of championship race every even number of years streak alive. Provided, of course, if he wins at one of the next 3 races, or punts his way in, of course. And I get to my thoughts on the Championship Foreign Cup shortly, as well as Xfinity Series as well. But as disappointing as this is, again, ultimately NASCAR had no other choice. If the car violated a rule, they should be penalized to some degree. Rather than not, there's going to be any points come out of it. As of now, not been announced yet, and I don't know if any will. But I would be surprised if this qualification would be punishment enough. But we'll have to wait and see. So it seems that an engineer at Gibbs is sharing information with another team that's not in the playoffs. NASCAR is aware of it, and the engineer has also accepted cash payment for the information. Now this time we don't know who the team is, but I will say this. If your speed was improved that fast, based on how you were prior to the update, then yeah, it's fishy to say the least. We'll have to wait and see once we get more details on who the team is that bought the information from Gibbs' engineer, and the consequences from the engineer, if there are any. Or if Gibbs himself is going to file a lawsuit because of it. So, we'll see. Now, Hailie Deegan apparently is, for the time being, is leaving NASCAR and go to what was the Indy Lights series called NXT. Drive full-time for one of their cars over there. Which begs the question, if she wanted to do open reel in the first place, then why did she dabble in NASCAR? Or for that matter, why could she just stay in dirt? I mean, I applaud her for trying NASCAR, don't get me wrong, even if it ultimately didn't work out. And I wish her the best at IndyCar, but at the same time, seems to me her biggest downfall was when she left Toyota to go with Ford. Yeah, there was no room for her to advance in Toyota, and I get that, but at the same time, I don't think she was ready yet to try to go to ARCA Trucks and Xfinity at that particular time. Maybe she had a year or two full-time in the West Division first, just to find out if she really did have potential or not before switching to Ford, or it's something we may never know. But regardless, I wish her the best, just the same. Now, there's another thing that I noticed that caught my eye earlier today, in fact, is that Calling Racing apparently will swap crew chiefs for the 16 Cup car beginning this weekend in Las Vegas. As Travis Hicks will be out, and Darian Grubb will be the interim crew chief for the Las Vegas race weekend for SVG. Beyond that, we have to wait and see. Now, whether or not the pair will work together next year, when SVG goes to Trackhouse next year full-time, we'll have to wait and see. But I am curious to see how things will work out with SVG for the remaining races he has left for this season and next year as well, when he does tend to drive the Cup Series full-time. Now going back to the Cup Series right quick, provide Championship 4 picks. Update version, that is. So right now we got 3 Hendrick, a Trent 11, 2 Gibbs, and 2 Penske drivers competing for the championship that are left. And to me right now, I would say that most likely to get in on wins would be Logano, Bell, and Larson. As for the one who gets in on points, that's going to be more of a challenge, because you can make the case for the remaining 5. But I think Byron has the best chance of making it in on points out of the remaining 5. So that means that Championship 4, as of now, to me, and Cup, would be Bell, Larson, Logano, and Byron. But we got 3 weeks to find out for sure. I'll be back for the championship race at Phoenix to give my championship thoughts, no matter of course. And now I'll wrap things up right quick with this video. Talk about the Xfinity Series Championship 4 picks. Right now, to me, I think the Ford to race for the Xfinity Series title this year will be Allgaier, Custer, Mayer, and Smith. I think German Motorsports arguably is the best team overall, with Custer being the only one who has a fighting chance to go back-to-back. And as for the Truck Series side of things, I still say it's going to be the big 3 that'll be racing with Enfinger for the Truck Series title, but I think Washar Kuroda probably has the best chance of taking one of them out. Whether that be Heim, Majeski, or what was that? Heim, Majeski. Oh, well, you know what? Sorry, folks, but mine's drawing a blank on that last one, so I'll be right back. Apologies for that memory loss, folks, but it was Ekins, Majeski, and Harm that crew could knock out for the Truck Series playoffs when that series resumes in a couple of weeks in Miami. So I do want to apologize for that as well. And that'll wrap things up for now. I'll be back soon with my thoughts on Vegas and preview Homestead Miami Speedway. Just don't forget, 2:30 Sunday Cup and 7:30 Saturday for the Xfinity Series at Vegas. And of course, for radio coverage, this will be Doug Rice's final broadcast. Listen to PRN on the NASCAR app, Sirius XM, or your local station as well. If you want to hear Doug Rice call the race one final time in both series. Until then, I'll see you next time. Bye. And one other thing that just dropped a few minutes ago. Seems that Tyler Gray is going to be driving for Joe Gibbs Racing full time in the Xfinity Series next year, driving the 54 car, with Tyler Allen being his crew chief. I mean, he's done a good job in the Truck Series and whatnot, and has been president and stars in his Xfinity Series so far, so who knows? He might win a race or two next year. And I wish him the best of luck. I did want to at least get that taken care of right quick before I forget anything else for today. So, until next time, folks, bye! Oh, and one last thing. I've got to say who I think is going to win this weekend's races at Vegas. For the Cup Series, I think there's going to be a 3-horse battle between Logano, Bell, and Larson, but I'm going to give the slight edge to Larson as far as the Cup Series go. As for the Xfinity Series, I'm going to give the slight edge there to Custer, but I think Allgaier might be good as well. But don't forget to tune in Saturday night, 7:30 on the CW, and 2:30 Sunday for the Cup race on NBC to find out for certain. And on that note, that'll do it for now. See you next time, for real this time. Bye.